All right. Hi, everyone. I'm live. Let me know if y'all can hear me all right. Hear me okay. Notary Nation LLC, sunny Florida here. So, hi, everyone. Everyone here that's in the chat right now. Please let me know what state you're watching from. Right now, we are going to have a really great, amazing live. But let me see. Let's see. We had some people who's here before the show. Seeking Truth. How you doing? Brad, yes, I've been researching this to add to my business right on time. Absolutely. So today, I actually have a special guest. And actually, well, before I get into what we're going to do today, let me just give my introduction. So my name is LaShawn Jenkins with the Notary Institution, and I coach and I mentor notary signing agents on starting their notary signing agent business. Also, too, I provide different tips and just different things that notary signing agents can do for their business. And today we're going to get into the fingerprinting. So I know we have a lot of people here who have asked me about how can they truly get started into mobile fingerprinting, or just people looking for the information and knowledge about mobile fingerprinting. So let me see who we have here. Sharan from Georgia. We got Georgia, Florida. How you doing? Watcher from Virginia. How you doing? Red Circles from Oklahoma, and Patience, she's from South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. And we got some Texas people here. How you doing, Alicia? Virginia Beach, absolutely. So guys, we're going to be learning today. This video is going to be about mobile fingerprinting. I have a special guest here. His name is Mr. Daniel. I'm actually about to bring him up on the screen. But we're going to be diving into deep about mobile fingerprinting and how notaries can get started into the business, and not just go out here and just get started, but really understand the business and understand the ins and outs of the business and truly understand how you can get started. So before I get into it, because y'all know that's not my lane about certain things, we have Mr. Daniel here. How you doing, Mr. Daniel?
Thank you. Doing well. How about yourself?
Absolutely. So everyone's here. People are here. We want to learn more about the mobile fingerprinting. But before we get into it, I would love for you to introduce yourself, give a little background about yourself, and then also tell us how you actually got started with mobile fingerprinting or just the fingerprinting business.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it. As you know, we started our own YouTube channel not too long ago, but really not as popular as yours. So I'd love to share as much information as possible here to anybody who's interested. But quick background on myself. So my name is Daniel Jerkowitz. I do a few things. So I work primarily with a company right now called PrintScan, national fingerprinting business here in the U.S. We also own, we own basically two things. We own a digital marketing company. That's how my company started out. PrintScan was one of our clients. We partnered with them, and really, the snowball effect took chase, and we kind of dove headfirst into fingerprinting because it is such a blue ocean that we like to call it. So we kind of moved away from the digital marketing company. We still do it. We still service clients. And now we teach primarily about fingerprinting. Just launched a brand new website called fingerprintingclasses.com. Very expensive domain, so we're happy to get that up and running. It's about like 50% live right now, so I'm sure if people visit it, they're going to be able to see it and get excited about it. We're also going to be dropping a link at the end of here too to be able to give you as much free information as possible. But so how I got started with fingerprinting specifically was running my business. We were a small team, approximately 3 people. PrintScan was a client of ours. They actually their operations, their headquarters is approximately 25 minutes from my physical house. So I went there, I met the owner. We spoke about them hopping on as a client. They were primarily in 2 states at the time. They were in New York, and they had another location in Florida. They had 1 location in Florida. We hopped on as their marketing company. They were really, really making strides to try and go national. And in the 2 years that we were working with them, we took it from, well, I shouldn't say we, it's really him, the owner of PrintScan. They took it from, 6 locations in like the tri-state area and that 1 in Florida to now they have over 350 locations nationwide.
Oh, wow.
So we went in pretty heavy. So a lot of that was the PrintScan team. They did most of it. We were just there to support them. And in that, journey over the past 2 years, we found a few different markets that were very, very interested in fingerprinting and were very underserved. So the mobile notary and loan signing market was probably the biggest one. Other than that, there was private investigators, real estate agents, and then anybody really just looking to start a business with a blue ocean, as we like to call it. So everybody looks to start businesses that are popular nowadays. They want to sell courses online. They want to sell real estate. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with those, but it's very competitive, right? Mm-hmm. Now, fingerprinting is not competitive at all. There is zero competition. I'm sure if people look in their local area and they say fingerprinting near me, they're going to see 1 to 2, maybe 3 places. They're probably going to see a lot of the major players, but as far as like small to medium business owners, they're going to see 0 results. And if they do, they're quite honestly not going to be that good. The problem with fingerprinting is the knowledge and education. It's totally underserved market. Nobody knows what is going on with fingerprinting. Even the local state governments, the employees within those governments, they have no idea what to tell people on how to do fingerprinting. And a lot of the information that they give out is actually false. So in my time working with PrintScan and my team working with PrintScan, we've amassed basically their 20 years of experience and knowledge. And, we basically got the right to send it out to the world and, educate people freely without charging any type of paywall. And that's why we started the YouTube channel. And that's how I got here today.
And I just let you know how I found you was I actually found you through Facebook on the ads.
Really?
Yeah, that's how I found you, Dan. I'm gonna be honest with you. I seen your Facebook ad. I seen it quite a few times, I think, but I seen it one day and I was like, you know what? I clicked it. Sorry, I know you have to pay, but
we spend a lot of money on it, so it's okay.
I clicked the ad and then I seen your YouTube and I said, oh, let me just call them. And that's exactly what I did. Because I wanted someone who could really come and really dissect the information about the fingerprint business. Because the only time I actually heard about it was a guy through Andre Hatchett, and he's actually located in New York, because you're in New York, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And he told me about it here, and I kind of had some pushback with him, but he told me about it, and I did my research just a little bit, and I'm like, well, this is the second person that's talking about it. So I said it must be a thing. And then also I hear other notaries talking about it. And you are correct about the competition. There's none, because even when I search fingerprinting services near me or mobile fingerprinting near me, the person that's the closest is not the closest, if that makes sense. They're actually an hour away from me. So, and a lot of notaries here are looking for ways to honestly different things that they can do, that they can add to their mobile notary business and supplement their income. Because I'm not sure if you know about the mobile notary business. Are you a notary or no? You just
you're not. No, yeah. Vaguely familiar. Listen, after doing about over 250 sales calls with mobile notaries, I've learned a little bit about it. But I'm not an expert in any means.
Well, they have slow times. So sometimes,
yes,
like with loan signings, there are slow times. And then also, too, when notaries, a lot of them are realizing that in order really to make the money as far as going to 6 figures, a lot of times, you just have to find a hole in the market and where they can capitalize off of. And even though they have that commission, the fingerprinting services is something that they can do also when things slow down or when they're not getting clients or anything like that. So that's why I reached out to you, because I just felt the energy, to be honest, and I seen the ad.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So before we get into it, I always say hi to Messina. How you doing? So just for everyone that's watching right now, you are more than welcome to also type questions, even though y'all know that I'm going to ask Daniel some good questions for you all to help you understand and decide if this is a service that you should add to your mobile notary business. So the first question we're going to go into, Dan, what is fingerprinting? What is it? And also, tell us a little bit about the job. When someone shows up, what actually happens with mobile fingerprinting?
So with mobile fingerprinting, I'll start off with this, is a lot of people are a little bit confused with what fingerprinting actually is. So the only reason somebody ever is to get a fingerprint card, like we have one back here, or do a live scan appointment. Yeah, I have it out there as a prop. Or perform a live scan appointment or make a live scan appointment with the company is to conduct the background check. That's the only reason ever. There's never any other reason to get fingerprinted. So there's two types of background checks in the entire world, basically. So there's what we call a name-based background check, which is your first, last name, and date of birth. And what that does is it pulls criminal records, usually within your local government and your state. Sometimes the FBI as well, but usually that requires a fingerprint card like I had behind me just now. Now, the other type of background check is a biometric background check. And we use fingerprints primarily for that, because whenever somebody gets arrested, the only thing that they're able to do in order to really conduct a 100% confirmed background check is to take their fingerprints, because no fingerprint in the entire world with, however many hundreds of millions of people there are in the world right now, all of them are unique. There's no one fingerprint alike. So that's why that is used to differentiate people between when they get arrested, regular civilians. So whenever somebody gets a fingerprint background check done, it's primarily just to look at arrest records, either within their local government, their local county, their state, nationally, or globally. And when you get to national and global levels, that's when you get to the FBI. So that's the only reason people will ever get fingerprinted. I know there's a lot of misinformation out there where sometimes they just have a card on file in case there's none of that. There are some times where children get fingerprinted to, confirm their identities. That's a whole nother program. But as far as adults are concerned, it's always for a background check. Now, with being a mobile fingerprinting technician or owning a mobile fingerprinting business, what you're really doing is you're owning a background check business. Now, I know we're going to get into the question most likely about what state can you do this in and can you do this in my state? And I have some really good news with that. So make sure you stick with this video and you don't leave the live, because when we get there, you're going to like the answer to, I'm telling you, it's going to shock a lot of you. But when you own a mobile fingerprinting business, it's actually much easier than people think. The thing that you have to get over, that wall that you have to jump over, is the education and knowing what you can and can't perform. And that's what we're going to give a lot of the information on today. But really, it's very simple. There is a demand for fingerprinting services in the entire nation right now, especially post-pandemic, because a lot of fingerprinting businesses were shut down. A lot of them closed their doors, and now there's a backlog of it. So there is a high demand for fingerprinting services. A lot of you probably know this already. There is a very low supply for fingerprinting businesses. There are not enough fingerprinting businesses out there in order to fulfill the demand, which, if you're going off of just simple business practice, that makes for a great business no matter where you live. Now, obviously, the higher the population city that you live in, the more lucrative this business is going to be. But you could take a city with, 50,000 people and do this business and be profitable. You could take a city with 2,000 people, just expand your radius a little bit, and you could still be profitable. So in a nutshell, all you do is people call you, they need a fingerprinting card done, like I had behind me, or they need a live scan service, which will go over what services you can perform in each state. And you are the business owner, you are the fingerprinting technician, you perform that appointment. That fingerprint record goes to whoever is requesting it. They perform a background check, and that's it. It's done. That's fingerprinting in a nutshell. Most people think that it's much more complex than that, but that's really it. It's very simple. The part where we get a little bit confused and a little bit complex is just what you could do in your own state and the education on what you can perform. But that's really it. It's very easy, very simple. Okay,
so I have a question for you. So my question is, like, how to become a notary? Like, once you become a notary, right, there are certain qualifications that you have to have, allegedly, to do. Well, I won't say allegedly, but it's kind of like tied to the mortgage industry. So there's certain qualifications that have to be had in order to do the loan signing portion. So when it comes to mobile fingerprinting, is there certain qualifications that a person has to have in order to be able to actually collect other people's fingerprints?
So this is an answer that's going to shock basically everybody watching this right now, because there is absolutely zero qualifications, licenses, or permits to do this. I know it sounds Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but every local government, every state government, and even the FBI does not force you to get accredited by any agency, any company, anybody in order to perform fingerprints. Now, at our company, Fingerprinting Classes, we will be doing a certification, but I mean, even me being the owner of that, you don't need it legally. You really don't. If you are 18 years old and you have zero information about fingerprinting, you've never even held a job before, if you have been convicted of a crime before, you could still perform fingerprinting services. Now, I know it sounds crazy, but you really could. There's no legal ramifications of performing fingerprints and not being certified, not having a permit or a license. Now, yes, you should have a business license. You should have, business insurance. You should have all that other stuff when you open up any other business. That's always just good business practice. But really, you don't need any certifications or qualifications in order to do this. You quite honestly need, and this is going to shock everybody, you need blank fingerprint cards. I'll tell you all where to get it. You need an ink pad. I'll tell you all where to get it. Hint, hint, it's Amazon. And you need a little card holder. It's about $50 worth of materials, and then you just need the education. And you could start doing this service tomorrow. And that's really it. I know it's shocking, but that is the truth.
Honestly, that's all I need to hear. Honestly, just knowing that because me, I'm a firm believer of training, so I will invest into any type of training, especially if I know that it's a business that could pay me off in the long run. Let's see. We had some. I know we had our questions. So I asked you qualifications. Before I get into the education part of it, before we get into education, guys, let's start doing some research first. And what about the startup costs? Like, how much would a person need to invest in order to get started? And I know that you talked about live scanning, and then also the ink pad or something? I forgot.
Yes.
A little bit. Oh, okay.
So there's two methods. So you can own two types of fingerprinting businesses. You can own an ink and roll only, which is these materials that I have right here. It's basically doing these cards. And you take somebody's hand, you roll it on ink, you roll it on the card. Very easy, very simple. It's easier than most people think, quite honestly. So that's one type of fingerprinting business called the ink and roll method, selling fingerprint cards, hard cards, a bunch of different things that you can call it. Then there's owning a live scan business. Now, the term live scan is used differently throughout the United States. So if you're in Georgia, I know there was somebody in here in Georgia before.
Oh, you seen them? Yeah, we got a few Georgia people.
I saw somebody in Georgia, yeah. If you're in Georgia, live scan is used for something called GAPS fingerprinting, Georgia Applicant Processing Service. If you're in California, live scan is used for California state background checks. If you're in New York, live scan is used for New York state background checks. But if you're in Florida, live scan is used for everything, So I don't like to use the term live scan. I just say the term electronic fingerprinting, because electronic fingerprinting encompasses it all. And it's pretty vague, and we can niche down into certain services within that. So take the word live scan and just throw it out of your head, because it's just going to confuse you. We're going to go just straight with electronic fingerprinting. Now, the ink and roll business is where you can make anywhere typically from like $1,000 to $5,000 per month, depending on your marketing, depending on your population, your total addressable market. We can get into that later as well. But that's usually what we see people make with ink fingerprinting only. Now, with electronic fingerprinting, there's a much, much higher total addressable market because there's more services that you can perform. So with electronic fingerprinting, this is what you can do. There's state fingerprinting background checks, which is not available in all 50 states. That's the bad news, but there is much, much better news. Just stay tuned. There is what's called FBI background checks or departmental orders. Those are both the same service. That you can perform in all 50 states. You can perform that in the entire world using an electronic fingerprinting device. That's an FBI background check. There's something called a FINRA background check, which if anybody has worked in a bank or has worked in like a wealth management firm, they've probably had to get the service done. It's a background check performed by the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. This you can perform with an electronic fingerprinting device in all 50 states, global as well. Then there's really two other things that you can perform as well. There's an FBI apostille, which is an FBI background check, just with a higher level of certification. And then there's Florida background checks. Florida background checks are completely open to the entire world, the entire US. Anybody can open up a live scan business in Florida. So congratulations. If you live in Florida, you've hit the pay dirt with fingerprinting. There is a higher competition, obviously, because there is an easier barrier to entry. But Florida background checks are popular within the entire U.S. because a lot of people move back and forth to Florida. A lot of people sell real estate, mortgages in Florida. A lot of people do business in Florida. Believe it or not, we've seen partners sell a lot of Florida background checks in Mississippi, in Michigan, all the way up in Oregon. We've seen a lot of it be done. So those are the Oh, yeah. Yep.
I just left from Florida. I literally just left from teaching notaries in Florida like last week.
Yeah, Florida is a huge gold mine. Yep. But that's what you can perform with an electronic fingerprinting device, regardless of what state you live in. So if you've done your research and you know that, oh, I live in a closed state, like Georgia is a closed state, or New York.
Yeah, someone asked a question. So hold on real quick. They literally just asked that.
Yeah, yep. I see it.
Oh, here it is. This is Violet. She said, how do you find out if your state is an open or closed state?
This is going to be a very easy answer. Okay. And it's because there's not that many open states. So, and there's open states, and then there's kind of like hybrid states too. So I'm going to go over all three. So there's three types of states. There are closed states, there's open states, and then there are hybrid states. Now, hybrid states are really going to be state specific. You got to do a little bit of research on what your state can provide. I know off the top of my head, at least like 5, 6, or 7 of them. I can go over them here. But a closed state means that state has a contract with a company to perform state background checks. So New York, obviously I'm from New York, if you guys can't tell from the accent already. New York has a contract with a company. I'm not going to name them here because I don't want to blow any company up or get into everybody knows. I'm sure everybody knows what the company name is, but they have a contract with the company to perform state background checks. So if somebody is going to become a teacher, a nurse, or a mortgage broker, they have to go through that company, right? Now, that is basically what a closed state means. It means a state has a contract with a company to perform state background checks. And if anybody is going to be employed by that state through various different types of employers that require a state background check, they have to go to that company. Now, most people are going to hear that information. They're going to be like, well, I'm done. I'm finished. I can't open up a fingerprinting business. It's not true, because you can perform all those other services that I was talking about. You can perform FBI background checks. You can perform FINRA background checks, Florida background checks, and then you can perform ink cards, because ink cards, there's no contract with any company who owns ink cards. Anybody can do an ink card. And there's hundreds of reasons why people need ink cards. Now, don't get me wrong. The majority of the volume for fingerprinting services in a closed state is for state background checks. But when you own a mobile business, you're not there for volume, right? You're there for high ticket, because high ticket is what's going to basically pay you for the most amount of time that you're spending. Because you, as a mobile fingerprinting business or a technician, you're trading your time for money. So you don't want to trade 1 hour of your time for $10. It's just not going to be great. You want to trade 1 hour of your time for $125, probably $250, maybe even $400, depending on the type of check, right? That's what you want to maximize, the service offering that you're offering to these people, which is why you stay mobile, right? And the good thing about mobile is there's no competition, and most of the services that people need in a closed state, they usually are requesting mobile technician. Now, a lot of these people are people who don't want to go to an office. They don't have time, prominent business people, a lot of celebrities, believe it or not. In New York, I can't tell you how many people, how many mobile techs print scan is sent out to Lower Manhattan, to the North Shore of Long Island, to fingerprint people like Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, Warren Buffett. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of people, believe it or not. I'm trying to think of other people off the top of my head that the owner is.
We got some people. You giving us the tea. Giving us the information.
I got to keep people engaged, you know.
Yeah.
But let's not go too much off track, you know. So that's what a closed state is, right? But it's still a very profitable business. I mean, PrintScan started their whole business in New York, which is a closed state, and they have 7 locations there. So that's the proof of the pudding right there. Now, there's also open states. Now, there's only really truly one open state in all of the US, and that's Florida. Now, the other states that I go over are kind of hybrids, right? California is a hybrid where anybody can open up a fingerprinting business in California, but they need to be stationed in California. They need to go through this California DOJ application. So they're like a hybrid state. Anybody can really offer it. There's no company that has like a sole monopoly contract with California, but that's why I kind of call it like a little bit of a hybrid. Technically, it is open, but it's a little bit difficult to get certified by the state of California. But again, anybody can offer FBI background checks, FINRA background checks, printing cards, and Florida background checks. Those are open in the entire world. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It did go out for a second, but I think we can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Let me make sure it's not streaming at okay, no, it's fine. I'll make sure it wasn't streaming at 1080p because sometimes that will cause you to go out, but it's streaming.
Gotcha. I'm good.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay, cool. But yeah, that's really what I call is like a hybrid state. So California is one of those, Arizona is one of those, Nevada, Mississippi, I believe off the top of my head, I'd have to do a little bit of research. I believe that's hybrid. But here's how you can find out if your state is kind of like a hybrid, right? North Carolina is hybrid. Yeah. Okay. I just saw the comment pop up. That's why I said it. But here's how you can find out if your state is like a hybrid state or not. So what you need to do is you need to look up the state name and then fingerprinting. You're probably most likely going to get the state's website. And here's what you need to do in order to find out if it's truly a hybrid or not. You need to find out on whether or not they accept ink cards in lieu of a state live scan appointment. So Georgia is a great example of this. If somebody does not have time or just cannot get an appointment with a live scan vendor, somebody who's approved by the state, they can, in lieu of getting a live scan appointment, or an electronic appointment, I should say, they can submit an ink card to the state. And what the state does is they actually scan this in with a scanner. They upload it to their live scan program and they conduct a background check. So that's what I mean by hybrid, right? So Georgia is one of those. I believe Mississippi is one of those as well. North Carolina is one of those. So that's where a lot of the money is made with fingerprinting when you live in a closed state, or what you believe to be is a closed state, is you can still perform ink cards and they can submit it with an application to the state, and it's kind of like a little bit of a loophole. That's some information that I've never given out on YouTube, so this is like the first time I'm ever doing it, but that's like a little hidden gem. If you live in a state where you look around, you're like, oh, this company's everywhere, I can't do it, look up that information. You'll be surprised that you can actually offer it. And then you can advertise state background checks via the ink card process, so that this way you're not really saying anything that you really can't do. Even though you're not the company that has the contract, you're still able to perform that background check with the loophole. Now, I know a lot of this information is maybe just threw people for a loop. Maybe that started to get into a little bit of a complex area. But again, if you ever get confused, just remember it's very simple. If somebody's requiring a fingerprinting background check appointment, it's just for background check purposes, nothing else. And always remember that this is what you could do in every single state, any part of the world. You can always do ink fingerprinting and fingerprint cards, which, lucky for everybody else here, is the cheapest option to get into. Like I said, all you need is the materials, a little bit of education, and you're good to go. So I know that's kind of like a long-winded answer. No. But closed and hybrid state, it's like my most popular question that I get. Our reps that get on calls with people who are looking to buy live scan equipment or looking to just start this business. That's usually what we spend the most amount of time on, because it takes a little bit to wrap your head around. But once you get it, you realize how profitable this could really be. I mean, we've had partners that have started mobile, and 6 months later they have 3 locations. If anybody's in Arizona, look up the company Arizona Fingerprints and More. Quick little plug there. They started off mobile only, and they just opened up their 3rd location last week with us. So it's definitely very, very profitable once you get past that like little wall of information and just wrapping your head around everything. But that's
Oh,
that's
wow.
the long answer to that question, basically.
You got me thinking I may need to go back outside and start working a little bit. But hold on. It was a question about, I know you talked about the finger roll, but someone asked, said, is the live scan $5,000?
Yes, so we're gonna get into that a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So there's
All
there's
right.
two types of things that you can invest in when it comes to starting a fingerprinting business.
Yeah.
And there is basically these materials right here, some ink, some blank cards, and a little card holder. Now, that costs anywhere like $50 on Amazon. You could buy like little kits for it too as well. Then the education. So we have, and we're going to send the link to this. You guys can, end up enrolling in this if you want. Yeah, everybody's asking about the training. So there's a few things that you can go off. Honestly, you can watch my YouTube channel. We do offer a free course as well, which the link that was dropped before, if it wasn't dropped already, you can opt into that and our team will give you access to a free course. But usually the training to find out all the education that you really need to start this business can go anywhere from free if you're willing and able to kind of decipher all the information that I have on the YouTube channel in the free course, or typically anywhere from like a $9.97 lifetime offer for all of our entire library of courses and everything like that. And again, we never put a paywall behind our information. We do give most of it out for free. So if it's not something that you're willing to spend like anywhere like $1,000 on the education, like a organized module on an online course, you can get all of it for free. Just reach out to us via that link. But then live scan equipment, this is the big question what everybody asks. So before we get into pricing, we need to get into what makes live scan equipment usable and non-usable, because a lot of people have spent thousands of dollars on live scan equipment. They've gotten it and they realize that it's a paperweight, it's useless, and they can't do anything. And they've been scammed out of like $3,000. And some companies have like no refund policies and stuff like that. So you need to be very, very careful. So let me explain live scan devices. Now, a live scan device is actually pretty cheap. If you go on Amazon or some of these websites that sell the device only, it's usually like $1,000 or $2,000 tops, right? There's a whole bunch of different models out there, but the stuff where live scan starts to get expensive, or electronic fingerprinting, I should say, is the software. Now, the software is very important because you can capture somebody's fingerprints on an electronic fingerprinting device, and you can have the whole file right there, the fingerprint file. If you don't have the availability to send that file to whoever's requesting it, it's a paperweight, it's useless. Because think of it this way. If somebody is requesting a fingerprinting appointment and you're using an electronic live scan device and you don't have the partnership or the channeling, as we call it, to send it to the FBI, to send it to FINRA, to send it to the state, wherever state you are, California or like Arizona or Florida. If you don't have the channeling to send it there, the software ability to send it there, it's useless. You just took that person's money and they're not going to be happy because they're not going to get their background check. So live scan equipment is great. You can buy any of them. You need to buy software from a reputable company that has channeling partnerships with these departments and agencies. Now, this is where I throw the plug in there for PrintScan. PrintScan is an authorized FBI channeler, FINRA channeler, FDLE, which is Florida channeler. They're working on Canada, RCMP, Royal Canada Mounted Police. They're working on state partnerships. They're working on all this stuff. And the next year, they're going to have a bunch of states available, a whole bunch of things where they can channel fingerprints to all these different departments and agencies. Now, there are other companies out there, because I'm not going to sit here and just be totally biased on PrintScan, because I do want to be fair. There are other companies out there that are channelers for the FBI, channelers for FINRA, channelers for Florida, but you need to be careful because sometimes they sell their software without channeling, and then you realize you can't do anything with it, and then you have to go back to them. And then they say, oh, by the way, that $1,000 machine we sold you, yeah, our software license is $11,000. So either buy the software or your device is useless, and there's no refunds, by the way. So, you got to watch out for things like that. So when you're shopping around for pricing, you have to get these things included with the live scan machine. You need a live scan machine. You're going to need software to be able to capture the prints. And then you're going to need electronic channeling specifically to these departments and agencies should always be included with channeling. That's going to be the FBI, that's going to be FINRA, and that's going to be Florida. Those three, quite honestly, are mandatory because if a company is selling you a live scan partnership device or software and they don't have those three, I would say kind of stay away from them. Unless it's like specific to a state like California or something like that, and you're just doing California stuff, then I would say yeah, but that really doesn't apply to everybody. So if you're going to be purchasing live scan equipment, you need to make sure that the company that's selling you that equipment gives you software, and they're able to channel the fingerprints for you to the FBI, FINRA, and Florida. Those are the top three right there. So the pricing for that ranges anywhere from $4,000 to around $7,000. Now, the reason why there's such a big difference in those price ranges is because there's a lot of software packages out there about how many services you can do, what are the fees to channel to the FBI. Like if you're selling an FBI background check for $100, like what's my total cost? How much am I going to be getting charged by the company to channel those fingerprints? Things like that. Tons of different types of software packages out there, but anywhere from $4,000 to $7,000 is what you're going to want to budget yourself. A lot of companies out there offer financing. A lot of companies have some great options for payment programs. We have a good option for a payment program. We have a great lender that we work with called Marlin Capital. Quick shout out to them. They've quite honestly opened up the floodgates to people who are able to afford live scan devices. They do a quick application. They give them an equipment loan with a very, very good interest rate. We're able to send the equipment out to them like the next week. It's quite honestly, it's amazing. But that's what you should budget yourself for live scan equipment, which is usually like the most popular questions. Everybody says, how do I get a live scan device?
That's what I was just even to ask about the equipment. I'm gonna be honest, I'm new to everything that you're saying, and I feel like I need a pen and paper, just like the audience, because I'm taking myself.
Replay it, yeah, of course.
Absolutely, but the replay will be available to everyone. So, guys, if you miss out, don't worry about it. Ms. Georgia Notary or Christina we kind of already answered that question a little bit. So we're not going to go over that question again, but the replay will be available for you. But Daniel, there was a question. I know we want to get into that. Do you want to get to the education now, or was there was two questions on here that I don't know if you wanted to answer or. Yeah.
Let me go through. These are quick answers. So,
okay.
Are you ever asked to submit an FD-258 card to the FBI? Dorothy, yes, great question. Dorothy has definitely done her research because that's a very good question.
Okay.
So sometimes, yes. And if you are asked to submit it for the client, you should charge them extra because you're taking the liability. Usually they're going to be the ones that are going to be taking, and this is an FD-258 card, by the way. This is like this is a standard fingerprint card that are used by a lot of states. So it's approved by the FBI. That's why they call it the FD-258 card. It's an FBI fingerprint card. A lot of people call it that as well. A lot of states and other agencies use that card as like their state-specific card. But yes, sometimes you can send it for the client, but I would charge them a fee to send it, obviously, because you're taking the time out of your day to send it for them. But yeah, absolutely, great question. Now, I know you said a little bit about the education. So for education, we do have a few things that we just dropped. So shameless plug on myself. Go.fingerprintingclasses.com. This website is about 50% launched, so please don't judge us. Our team is working day and night on it still. But if you go to go.fingerprintingclasses.com, you can click on that little landing page. There'll be a few questions there on whether you're a mobile notary or a private investigator or just looking for live scan devices. It's going to bring you to another page where you enter in a little bit of information. Now, I'm going to be totally transparent. When you enter your name, email, and phone number, we're going to reach out to you, right? Because at the end of the day, we are a business. We are trying to sell services and sell equipment. So I'm going to be totally transparent with everybody. But the biggest difference about our company is we don't keep our information behind a paywall. So when you click on that landing page, the worst that's going to happen is that you don't want to buy any of the services or buy any of the equipment. That's fine. We're still going to send you a free course. We're still going to send you free information. You're still going to hop on a call with one of our experts. We're going to give you all the information that you need. We're really here to help you out. So don't feel like you don't want to enter in your information, or like we're not going to spam you or anything like that. We're quite honestly, we're just here to help. So that's where you can go for any of the education that you'd like. We can point you in whatever direction you're looking to go. As far as like other education out there, I'd be very weary on listening to what I want to say is like listening to anybody who you speak to at police stations, listening to anybody who you speak to at your local government office or local state or county office, because you have to remember that these people are employees, right? And when you're speaking to an employee, they're not invested in the whole process of fingerprinting. So they're going to tell you whatever answer that they feel is going to get you out of the door or get you off the phone the fastest, you know? And I could say that because I was a W-2 employee at once. You know, I was a cashier and stuff like that. And I had that attitude. Now that I own my own business and that, you know, I work within this industry specifically, we go about things a little bit different because we want to actually, you know, provide correct information. But be weary when you're calling your local police station or local government, because they're going to not really know a lot about the whole process. So police stations offer fingerprinting, but I guarantee you if you call your local sheriff's office or police station, they're going to be like, yeah, I guess you can do fingerprinting, but are you arrested? No. Then why are you, you know? If you call your local government office or your county office, something like that, they're going to be like, I have no idea. You go on Google and check it out. So what I would say is YouTube. We have tons of videos out there on YouTube. Feel free to reach out. You know, watch a lot of training. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to tell everyone that after the video, I already have all your links and everything, Daniel. So all the links that Daniel was mentioning, I am placing them in the comments, but they will be in the description on the video. So you don't have to worry about trying to write it down or anything, because I will have all that information possible. Now, it will take about 24 hours for the video to be fully uploaded onto YouTube. But I believe if you're just on my email list in general, I will email out to everyone, especially the students that are current. So you was talking about education. You're welcome, Crystal. It's been a lot of questions coming up, so I'm trying to make
sure. I'm gonna roll through some of them. Yeah, I've seen a lot of good questions. So how do you start up the process?
Okay.
So there's two types of fingerprinting businesses. There's the ink and roll business, and then there's the electronic fingerprinting. So to start the ink and roll business, it's very, very simple. You just need to take action. That's literally it. You just take action. Buy some cards. You can get them on Amazon, an FD 258 card. You get a pack of 50. You get some ink. This is little fingerprint ink. You can look it up on Amazon. It's probably about like $20. And then you get a card holder. So this card holder holds the fingerprint card here. You put it on a table. You take the ink, you roll the person's hands. There's a bunch of videos out there on YouTube on how to roll ink fingerprints. So you can look that up. We're not going to get into the weeds of that. But quite honestly, you just market your service and you start taking clients. You charge them for your service. And at the end of the appointment, you hand them this card, and that's it. That's the entire business. So you just need to take action. Now, what this question is going to roll into marketing. Yeah, I knew it.
How you get the money?
Yep, that's the most important thing. That's the most important part. So here's where we kind of differentiate between everybody else in the fingerprint industry is I did and still do own a team of digital marketing experts. We primarily first started out as a digital marketing company, and through that we found out what works and what doesn't work. So I'm not going to go over what doesn't work because, quite honestly, the list is thousands of items long. We're just going to go over what works. So there's something that I like to speak about, and this is going to get a little philosophical, but just bear with me. It's something called the Pareto principle. Some of you have probably heard it if you like to read a little bit or if you're into business practices. But it's also called the 80-20 rule. So the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, just goes over what is 20% of the effort that's going to give you 80% of the results. You can spend 16 hours a day trying to market your business, doing flyers, Facebook ads, all this stuff. A lot of that's not going to work for fingerprinting. What you need to do is you need to take the 20% of effort that's going to give you the 80% of results, double down on that, and you're going to make most of your profit from that. And the things that you should be focusing on primarily to get clients for fingerprinting is going to be a Google My Business. And really, you don't even need a website, but a website always helps, obviously. I mean, let's face it, it's 2021. You need a website. It's very easy. It's very easy to get it. You pay somebody on Fiverr.
A landing page, something.
Yeah, a landing page, something, anything. Right? Just make sure it's up there. You know, buy a domain name. Very easy. We're not going to go over, exactly how to do that. Tons of free information on how to do that. But Google My Business and a website. That is it. Now, the information that you put on that Google My Business and that website is very important too. So here's where we get into a little bit of like a marketing philosophy. So a fingerprinting business is what we call B2C, so business to consumer, right? Now, when you're selling to consumers, you're selling to normal people, normal civilians. You're not selling to businesses. We can get into B2B fingerprinting services, but quite honestly, that's going to have to be a whole nother live because we can do that for like 2 hours. And I'm sure people are going to want that after this.
Oh no, they want that now. So I'm pretty sure.
There's a lot of money into it. We'll touch on it at the end a little bit. So that's a little bit of juice to make sure you stay to the end because I will touch on business to business, but business to consumer is going to be the easiest to get into. So when you're selling fingerprinting services to people who need fingerprinting appointments, you are selling B2C, business to consumer. And the big kind of wall to get over to sell to B2C is providing the correct information in a timely fashion with good customer service. That's it, right? We live in an age in a world where quickness is everything. Why do we go to 7-Eleven so much? Because it's fast. You could go to any other wholesaler or Costco or something like that, and it's going to cost, 50% less. But we go to 7-Eleven and we buy things at a marked up price because it's fast, customer service. So after you make a Google My Business and after you make a website, make sure that your customer service is on point. If you have a phone number on your Google My Business, make sure you're answering the phone. If you're not available to answer the phone, you have a full-time job, make sure you get a company to answer the phone for you. There's plenty of cheap options out there, only $100, $200 a month, where there's a phone answering service. And quite honestly, all people want is they just want to be heard. That's it. We live in a world where it's press 1 to connect, press 2. We have an influx of high demand services. Your wait time is now 17 minutes, something like that. People hate that stuff. People hate robotic voices. They like people on the phone. They like human voices. They like emails to be answered quickly. They like chat bots and things like that. So customer service is really the secret weapon when it comes to this business. And that's what we do at fingerprinting classes. That's what we do at PrintScan is we just double down on customer service because we know we may not be the biggest company out there, but if we're the best with customer service, then word of mouth is going to get out there, referrals. And that's exactly how it is in the fingerprinting business. When you're selling B2C, is customer service over everything else. Quick little story about Amazon, probably the biggest company in the world right now, is Jeff Bezos. His entire philosophy is focusing on the customer. Same thing with Apple, same thing with Microsoft. And the 3 things in common with these biggest businesses in the world is they make the most amount of money in the entire world, basically, all 3 of these companies put together. They make more money than we can all even fathom. And their superpower is that they focus on the customer. As long as you focus on the customer, everything else will fall into place. I 1,000% promise you, especially in a market like fingerprinting, where there's a low amount of competition and all you really need is to take action and a little bit of education and you hit the ground running. So to sum everything up, Google My Business, a website with good information on it, and then good customer service. And I guarantee you within 60 to 90 days, you'll have a very profitable fingerprinting business that builds you consistent revenue, which is the big problem that I hear a lot about the notary industry. A lot of refis are starting to die down right now because of the pandemic and all the low interest rates that's starting to get hiked back up. So refis are going down. You want consistent revenue. You want things that are going to pay the bills. You don't want to be going to sleep at night thinking, I have a full-time job, but I really want to go full into my business. I don't know. Can I make it? Can I make my mortgage? Can I make my rent? If you own a fingerprinting business or you're a mobile fingerprinting tech and you have a good brand out there and you have good customer service, that money, that revenue is always going to be there. It's never going to go away. So those are the things that you need to do. That's how you market your business. That's how you get clients. And that applies to everything. That applies to any type of business that's B2C or B2B. Good customer service, Google My Business, website, and you'll be fine. That's all you need. You don't need to spend a lot of money on it.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to touch on something, Daniel, real quick, because you mentioned the website. And I know a lot of people on here, most of my audience is notaries. Majority of them are. And I know a lot of y'all probably wondering, like, how can you actually add that service to your website so that you can be found on Google? And to be honest, the best way to do it, guys, is to actually create a separate. So first of all, it depends on, I'm not sure what everyone on here is using, but if you're using Wix or WordPress, create a separate page on your website specifically for mobile fingerprinting services. So that way you can actually be found on Google compared, because the thing is, we're offering a lot of different services, but for anything that you're doing, but especially for the mobile fingerprinting, if you want to be found for that, especially if you're already ranking for mobile notary services in your area and you want to rank for fingerprinting services, is to actually create a separate web page on your website, basically what Daniel was saying, like a separate basically landing page or a page where it's literally talking about fingerprinting services, the type of fingerprint services that you offer, and rank for that page on Google. So that way it's not you setting up another, like you don't have to necessarily set up another LLC or anything like that. Because that's a question that a lot of people will actually ask. Guys, so we only got like an hour with Daniel. We got an hour with Daniel, and I know there are a lot of questions here. Let me see. I will be saving this video, Miss Candace, Miss Bradley. Diane, she said, I'm not sure if you answered this already, but she said, can ink roll be used?
Yep.
Oh, okay. All righty, Daniel. Thank you. Oh, shoot. No, I'm sorry. Let me see. Okay. Is there more of a chance of error with ink versus live scan method?
Very good question. So the chance of error, what we call rejections, right, for fingerprinting, it's really not. So I'm going to be honest, it is higher statistically for the ink and roll method. And the only reason for that is just because of user error. So if you're not good at fingerprinting and you haven't practiced and you have a card where it's like all smudged and everything, yeah, it's probably going to get rejected, quite honestly. But really it just comes down to practice. It's not difficult. Making sure that you don't rush it, making sure that you take your time, practice on a family member. Always do at least 2 cards with a client, because if one card fails, at least you have a second one to process as well. So there is a higher chance of rejection with ink, but that's only because a lot of people rush it and a lot of people do it quickly and they just send it out and get the client, because sometimes people are backed up. They have like 10 appointments that day, and they're looking at the money in their head and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to make like, $700 today or $1,000 or whatever it is. And I mean, listen, that's kind of a rarity. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to put pipe dreams into people's heads, but yeah, so higher rejection rate for ink, but that's only because due to user error. Now, where this kind of ties into a little bit is the typical fee for fingerprinting, which I see Dorothy just asked. Great question. So here's where it gets interesting, and this is a good little gem. So anybody who stayed to this point, you're going to get a lot of good information right now. Is the typical fee for an ink card is like $40, right? Which, when you think about it, this card costs like 10 cents. So that's great profit margins right there, right? But because this is primarily going to be a mobile business for most people, $40 is not great, because that's like $40 an hour if you're driving out to somebody or something like that. If you're a mobile fingerprinting technician, you should never be taking a mobile fingerprinting appointment for less than $125. Always, yeah, $125. And here's the reason why I say that, is because if somebody's reaching out to you for a mobile fingerprinting appointment, now listen, if they're your next door neighbor, okay, maybe don't charge them $125. Maybe charge them $75, or maybe charge whatever you want to do.
We charging our neighbors too. No, we need to get out of the market. We charging our neighbors over here.
Very good, very good. Yeah, listen, you got to run a business. You got to be profitable, But I always say $125 is the starting point, because your time is valuable. You have to put an amount of value in your time. Now, listen, if you think that your time is worth $1 an hour and you want to give free services to the world, by all means, You may not be in business for long, but you need to make sure that you put a good price on your service, because that's actually going to let people know that you are serious, you are a professional, and you are going to be providing a very good service for the person. If they're reaching out for a mobile fingerprinting technician or business to come do their fingerprints at a location that they choose, they know it's going to be a little bit expensive. So don't lowball yourself. Make sure you charge high enough. And I guarantee you, the higher that you charge, the higher value clients that you're going to get, the less time you're going to be spending with bad clients, the less time you're going to be spending with unhappy people. It really is true. It's something that it took me a long time to realize, but the higher you charge for your service, the higher value clients that you're going to get, the more money that you're going to make, the less stress that you're going to have. So really $125 minimum for a mobile ink appointment. Now, there are some services out there like FBI apostles that get into like the $400 range. There's FBI authentications. There's, Florida background checks when you're out of state. If you're in Oregon and you advertise a Florida background check, you could charge that person like $375 for a 5-minute appointment, because the other option for them to do is to drive to Florida.
Oh, wow.
Unless there's another company that, offers Florida background checks, don't get me wrong. Yeah, then obviously they're going to go to your competitor. But like we said in the beginning, is that there's not that many competitors. So make sure that you're charging appropriately for your services. Now, if you're in Florida and there's a lot of competition for fingerprinting businesses, you may have to undercut the competition a little bit, but what you're going to get in return is you're going to get more volume, So anywhere in the US, if you have less competition, charge higher. It's literally just business ethics 101, is if there's a high demand and there's low supply, you got to charge a lot for your service. And that's why a lot of people are very profitable with this. That's why you see a lot of these companies out here doing it, and they don't want to give the information away because they're afraid of competition coming in. I quite honestly really don't care. I believe that if you give the information out for free, if you put good vibes out there, you're going to get great vibes back. It's really just karma, and we've seen that in our company. We've given basically everything away mostly for free. We try to service as many people as possible, regardless if they're a paying client or not. And we've seen our company, 10x over the past year and a half. So. It really is true, but make sure that you charge at least $125 minimum for a mobile appointment.
Oh wow! So guys, we are about to wrap it up. Daniel, I'm glad you spoke about the FBI, because I did see a question about someone asking that, but I did miss it. But we just want to answer. I'm not sure if you know about E&O insurance, but I guess basically the question might really want to be, what type of insurance would a person need? Because as notaries, we have errors and omission insurance, and that basically covers us for mistakes that minor mistakes that we make,
right,
during like the transactions with our commission, and they want to know, does E&O insurance cover it? But I don't.
Very, very good question. Yeah. So and I saw somebody else talking about C Corp, S Corp, and LLC. So I'll tie that into it as well.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
As far as insurance goes. So it's always good to have regular just business practice insurance. It's always good to have an LLC. Don't get me wrong. You probably shouldn't be doing a business just out there as a sole prop with no insurance and nothing to cover you. But as far as insurance goes, with, let's say, basically you take a fingerprinting background check for somebody and they gave you a fake ID, right? And they then submitted that as a fake person. That's on that person. That's not on you. That's not on you as the company now. Don't get me wrong. Once you become a national company and you're processing FBI background checks and you're an FBI background check channeler and you're a FINRA channeler, yeah, then you're going to need some umbrella insurance. You're going to need stuff, but that's only for national companies, and you cross that bridge when you get there. But as a mobile fingerprinting tech, there's no special type of insurance. It's always good to have insurance for your business, just general liability. It's always good to have an LLC. Now, quick caveat, I'm not a lawyer, so I technically can't give this advice, but usually I tell people, create an LLC, become a sole prop. Once your business starts making more than like $40,000 in profit, that's when you should probably move over to that S Corp, so that you don't get like the double tax and the payroll tax. There's plenty of tax consultants on YouTube that could tell that information way better.
I know we got one in the notary community.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. So I'm probably speaking way out of line right now.
Yeah, no, we have one in the notary community, but with a lot of notaries, I think what it is just that they're trying to figure out, like, when offering different services, do they need a separate LLC or something along those lines? and you don't. It just honestly boils down to marketing your business and actually trying to rank on Google for the services that you wish to provide. You don't necessarily need a whole entire new business name. Now, unless your business name has nothing to do with nothing, don't say mobile notary or whatever the case may be, then you know what, you might need to reevaluate your business plan that you have going on. But that's what kind of a lot of notaries, because back in the day, it wasn't a lot of knowledge. So a lot of people just had their commission and they're just taking money.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's what I think. That's why people are asking. Was there another question? Keep the prices consistent too. That help us make that help us all make money. Okay.
I understand what Jeremy's saying. So don't undercut each other. You know what I'm saying? So if you see somebody offering 125, don't offer 120. Keep it at 125. Listen, quite honestly, if you're in a city with 250,000 people, you can have a bunch of fingerprinting companies. There's plenty of customers to go around. There's no reason for this is such a small niche. I'm not going to say that the mobile notary niche and market is small, but in regards to like the business world, I mean, listen, there's no way you're going to step on each other's toes. There's plenty of customers to go around. There's plenty of competition out there. That's why in the fingerprinting world, a lot of the companies that are competitors are also partners. So like PrintScan is a competitor with Identigo, which is the state contract holder for New York, but they're also a partner with them. So it's kind of like, how does that happen? It's because we all really do need each other in the fingerprinting world, which is usually not the case for other businesses, but it is for fingerprinting. It's another reason why it's such a good business to start.
Okay, and I think this might be my last question, but I see someone had asked it before. It was something about can someone be tied to a company, or I guess how can they get in a contract with a company? So another big thing that's like blown up right now is like government contracts. So is it a possibility or an opportunity for a person to actually have a government fingerprinting contract opportunity with a company, like how Districo had? Is that possible?
It is possible. However, it's not something that you should focus on when you're just starting your business, because I'll give you this as an example. It took PrintScan a long time, a lot of employees, and quite honestly, millions of dollars to become an FBI contract, an FBI channel. Same thing with state contracts. I mean, when a state has a contract available, they do what's called an RFP, a request for proposal. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. Now, an RFP, just to bid for some of these states, are like $500,000. So it's not something you want to focus on right away. However, and this is the little gem that I would like to drop that I was going to drop before with the business-to-business services, is a lot of companies and a lot of volunteer agencies, especially volunteer agencies with federal grant money, are going to require people to be fingerprinted, and they do a lot of hiring at once, especially like social welfare and volunteer programs. Those are contracts that you can get as a smaller fingerprinting business, and it's basically just an agreement between you, the business owner in the business, and another company or another agency, a volunteer agency that quite honestly just needs a lot of these, And if a company or an agency or a volunteer agency or whoever needs a lot of these, and you're the business in the area that performs these, there's your contract right there. Now, don't get me wrong, it is rare, and you got to do a lot of digging for it. And you can get FINRA contracts and you can get government contracts, but you need to start small first. You need to make sure that you have taken some fingerprints first. I mean, you can't just start, never take a fingerprinting appointment, and all of a sudden gain a government contract. You know what I'm saying? You got to fingerprint some people first. You got to have some type of case study, But quite honestly, you could take like 10 fingerprinting appointments, get some reviews on your Google My Business, get some reviews on your website, and then start going after contracts and stuff like that, and really jump. And that's how you make 6 figures fast with just.
Before to get a contract, guys, that's why it goes back into having the business formation set up. Yes. Because you can't get government contracts, you can't get listed on the website if you don't have a actual formation, because they have to be able to find you through the state in the court, they will look online to see, you know, the website is great. Anybody can make a website, but now, you know, you have to have a business formation set up with your state, guys. So that
100%.
is key. That is the foundation to get the contracts.
Yep.
If that's something that you would like to know, that is definitely the foundation of it. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves it. We have a lot of people here today.
You know, this is a lot of fun.
I'm excited. You're a new face. You're a new face, and I just love the information that you have. And I think I just love the ad. I think that's why I think.
Thank you. Like I said, we spent a lot of money on Facebook ads.
I think it was you in the ad too. I don't know if you were just standing there or something. I don't know, but
I believe in this business a lot. We're like a very reputable company. We always try and do right by the customer. So I have no problem putting my face and my name on this business. I put a lot of my name and my face in this business already. So I mean that's the proof in the pudding right there. We really are trying to offer a great service. So.
Absolutely. Well, Dan, I'm excited to have you. I know we took about 1 hour and 5 minutes of your time.
Cool. No problem.
Really great information to everyone on how to get started into the business. So I do have your links and everything. So you can do your tell people how they can contact you and what you have to offer for them. I believe you said you had a training or something. And I do have the links.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah.
So before we, if you're on Facebook right now watching, the links, some reason, do not post in the Facebook group, so you will have to go on YouTube to get those links. And the replay will be available, and the links will be in the description and also pin. I will pin a comment, so don't worry about if you don't see the link and all that. There's no stress. The links will be available afterwards once when the video is fully uploaded. But I want to allow Daniel to tell us how everyone can get in contact with him afterwards, especially for the people who are watching the replay.
And I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No
like I said, the new website, fingerprintingclasses.com. If you go on just that URL, you're going to see a website kind of in progress. So go.fingerprintingclasses.com, go.fingerprintingclasses.com. Enter that URL, go in there, run through all the questions, the prompts, see how we can help you out. It's going to ask you to enter in your first, last name, email, and phone number. And that's just because our team's going to reach out to you to see exactly how they can help you. No hard sales tactics or anything like that. Now, my YouTube channel, I know my last name is pretty difficult to spell, so it's a lot easier to.
Daniel, I got your links. Okay.
So just look up mobile fingerprinting, ink fingerprinting, how to start a fingerprinting business on YouTube. Usually my videos pop up right at the very top. Subscribe, watch all the videos, gain as much information as possible. Visit the website. Our team will reach out, be able to help you guys out. If you want to pay for training, that's great. We have a bunch of courses. We have a bunch of programs specifically for mobile notaries as well. But we also have free content. We have access to live scan devices if you're looking to purchase that as well through PrintScan. PrintScan is the company that we're partnered with to do that. We're very grateful for their partnership. And they're a very reputable company. Feel free to reach out to them as well. But that's how you can get in contact with me, and feel free to reach out, and whatever you need, we're here to help you out.
Absolutely. So Daniel, I appreciate you coming. I did put your YouTube link inside of the description.
Oh, thank you very much.
I put it in the comments, but it will be in the description too for the feature. So make sure y'all guys go ahead and subscribe to Daniel's channel, because he did make a video a week ago going over fingerprinting. What you did, like a how-to video?
Yeah, how to fill out an FD258 card. There's a lot of videos on there. We're going to start doing videos probably about once a week. I am trying to put out a lot more content in there. It's just we run a pretty busy business, so
we need you, Daniel.
Sometimes it's tough, but trust me, we're going to be putting a lot more content out there just because the demand is so high. So, and I appreciate everybody just being interested in watching.
You're welcome, and I appreciate you being here for everyone and answering their questions and being so giving and so knowledgeable of all the information that you have. But we are going to hop off. But everyone, thank you for watching us. You have an amazing night, and me and Daniel are going to head out. Make sure you subscribe to your YouTube channel, and also make sure you subscribe to mine, because now I am back, guys, making my videos again. The goal is to be on a weekly basis for everyone to make videos and really provide us different topics that notaries can use to maybe grow their business or really expand their business so that they can have more income coming in so we can quit our jobs. And that is the goal. So everyone, you have a blessed day, and we're going to go ahead and hop off. Toodles.
Good night, everybody.